really understand Mr. Trump. He's a provocateur, yes, but he's also a savvy deal maker. I believe he will get a ceasefire in Ukraine fairly quickly. Gaza, more complicated. That President Trump wants peace on earth for the obvious reason, but also because calm leads to prosperity. Europeans are also way too dependent on state-run media like the BBC, and they don't pick up the rhythms of American politics. In addition, they don't understand what a disaster President Biden has been for working Americans whose take-home pay is being drained by high taxes and foolish policies. In Europe, most folks are totally dependent on government. Not here. The majority of us earn our way and want the bureaucracy out of our way. That's a big reason Donald Trump won. This weekend, we'll post the entire translated interview on Le Express on BillO'Reilly.com. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Let's go to the mail. We got Melly. Follow the money when it comes to Liz Cheney. Two facts. Did Liz pay Hutchinson, or did Liz use blackmail to get Hutchinson to be a fraud? What does Hutchinson have to gain by making false statements? Hutchinson had a best-selling book. She made thousands of dollars by peddling false stories, at least I believe they're false, about Donald Trump. That's what happened. Glenda, I don't think the Biden administration selling off the wall is minutia. We paid for that material as taxpayers. He's selling it out of vindictiveness. Maybe so, but so what? So what? There's going to be brand new barriers put up by the federal government fast. I don't get upset about small ball. Michael Hansen, Billings, Montana. It's my understanding that Trump will be able to automatically deport illegal immigrants who have committed a crime. Yes or no? He can deport them after a hearing. Okay. Aren't all illegal aliens committing crime by being here illegally? No, it's a civil violation, which has to change. It's a civil violation across the border or overstay a visa. That's got to change. Congress has got to, put punitive measures on that. It's one of the problems. Pierre Rodriguez, Quebec, Canada. Bill, you say Biden is insulting and arrogant. Okay, but why wouldn't you say the same about Trump when he insults Canadians by talking about our country being the 51st state? All right, that's insulting, but it's not at the same level as failing to explain why drones are all over the place. But I cede your point, Pierre. I wouldn't have done that if I were President Trump. In a moment, something you might not know. Many believe President Trump's victory is a big win for the American economy because Bidenomics really punished many Americans. I rely on physical precious metals like gold and silver to safeguard my retirement savings. And the only precious metals company I trust is American Hartford Gold. A tax-advantaged gold IRA can protect your savings from inflation, recession, and stock market downturns. You can roll over your 401k or IRA tax and penalty free. With thousands of five-star ratings, American Hartford Gold has delivered billions in precious metals. Act now. Call or text American Hartford Gold today. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying offers. Here's the number, 877-444-GOLD, or you can text GOLD Gold to 65532. That's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 655.
Craving a taste of Italy? Look no further than Vitale's Deli.
Family owned and locally operated, we're bringing a little bit of the hill to the heart of Glendale. Our friendly staff treats you like family, serving up a delicious variety of sandwiches inspired by authentic Italian flavors. And don't forget, Vitale's is the perfect spot for all your holiday sandwich needs this Christmas and New Year's.
Come see us.
Call 314-966-9912 or visit vitalesdeli.com.
Vitale's Deli, where great food meets family tradition.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Now the O'Reilly update brings you something you might not know. Christmas is honored by 2.2 billion Christians on all 7 continents, even Antarctica. But some folks are actually banned from celebrating the holiday, and that takes place in more than a dozen countries. Here are a few examples. First, Afghanistan, where marking the birth of Jesus can get you killed. According to the Taliban, there are officially 0 Christians living in the country. Westerners are forbidden from celebrating Christmas, even in private. Next, Somalia. Each year, the government issues a declaration labeling Christmas a, quote, public threat to the Muslim faith. Any religious practice not affiliated with Islam is forbidden in Somalia. How about Christmas in Cuba? Well, it's a little complicated. Fidel Castro abolished the holiday in 1969, but citizens celebrated anyway. In 1998, the Marxist government in Havana declared September 25th a non-religious day of leisure. Workers can take a 24-hour break, but without pay. In North Korea, any religious observation of any kind can get you thrown into a prison camp. Situation is so volatile that citizens in South Korea that live near the demilitarized zone are prohibited from displaying Christmas decorations on their houses. But they do. And they get in trouble because the authorities don't want to provoke fire from the north. Over to China, home to 54 million Christians. Following a communist crackdown on religion, the Chinese used secular ways to secretly celebrate the birth of Jesus. People hang decorative lanterns. Some exchange New Year cards with covert Christian messages. And here's something else you might not know. For a short period of time, Christmas is also banned in England. During the Civil War in the 17th century, Oliver Cromwell, bad guy, served as Lord Protector of the British Isles. The strict Puritan believed anyone who honored Christmas was a Catholic spy. So under Cromwell's rule, officials caught celebrating on December 25th wound up in the Tower of London. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of recent timeshare industry changes? Now more than ever, the costs of timeshare ownership far outweigh the benefits. My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you get out. Our listeners' positive feedback demonstrates why I've supported the company for years. For more than a decade, they have helped over 20,000 owners get out of the timeshare. Their exclusive options can help you get out faster and easier, more than any other option in the country. They are the only company that will give you a written guarantee and release you from your timeshare in a specific time frame. With an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau, thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their top priority. For free consultation and a guaranteed solution, please call 855-551-7066. That's 855-551-7066, or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
This hour from townhall.com, I'm Keith Peters reporting. Moving toward a midnight Friday government shutdown, House Speaker Mike Johnson's proposing a new plan that would temporarily fund federal operations and disaster aid, but punts President-elect Donald Trump's demands for a debt limit increase into the new year. Air traveler Rita Dexter hopes the budget uncertainty won't harm federal workers or impact her travel plan.
You know, I have a lot of faith in our government and in bipartisan ability to come to an agreement and a deal. I mean, ultimately, it really matters that our government is working, especially during busy travel times like the holidays.
Air traffic controllers could be affected if there's no agreement. Speaker Johnson insists there will be no government shutdown. An Indiana man has been for the 2017 killings of 2 teenage girls.
An Indiana man convicted in the 2017 killings of 2 teenage girls who vanished during a winter hike has been sentenced to the maximum of 130 years in prison. A special judge sentenced Richard Allen in the girls' hometown of Delphi, Indiana. The 52-year-old was found guilty of 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of murder while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping. Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McLeland represented 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German.
And while I don't think ever this verdict or this conviction will ever bring peace to the family, I hope that they can take this sigh of relief with me.
That audio is courtesy of WRTV. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Authorities in the German city of Magdeburg say at least 2 people were killed and 68 injured after a car plowed into a busy Christmas market in a suspected attack. A 50-year-old Saudi doctor is in custody. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 498 points. The Nasdaq rose 199. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Then just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
This Christmas, gather your loved ones as we at TBN celebrate the birth of Jesus. Enjoy powerful performances by For King and Country, Matthew West, Danny Goki, and Natalie Krantz.
Shine to the world.
Along with inspiring messages from Joel Osteen, Rick Warren, Max Lucado, and others.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Tune in or stream meaningful programming anytime on the TBN Plus app. Visit tbn.org to learn more and make TBN part of your holiday tradition.
You could have a tough...
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. The high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
Tony Colombo here for the cleaning pros at Zero Res, the team we trust with keeping our home clean and healthy. And the folks at Zero Res know how important it is to you to have a clean, healthy home this holiday season. And that's why they have this great offer for you right now. Book a cleaning with Zero Res and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
What happens next?
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted.
Happens right here.
My entire administration worked with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are
entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Lying dog-faced Tony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here? As a former leader in the House, I think you could put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Well, good evening. We do know that there's an extensive police operation in place right now at the Magdeburg Christmas market. Magdeburg, as you say, is a city west of Berlin. There is video circulating online showing a car going very fast, plowing into a crowd of people at this Christmas market. This is a very famous Christmas market. Reportedly, hundreds of thousands of people come every year to this market in Germany.
A harsh, horrible reminder of how dangerous the world is, and many would argue more dangerous than it has been in decades. Yes, and what is a possible terrorist act, a car slammed at a high rate of speed into a German Christmas market, and at least 2 people are reportedly deceased, and there are 60 to 70 that have been injured. And German authorities are, yes, investigating this as a potential ISIS attack. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Chris, sorry to bring us in with tragedy radio, but what a horrible situation right as we head into the heart of the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, it just reminds us during this festive season where everyone is full of joy and everything that we have to still be vigilant for terrorist attacks like this. This is the prime time when our vigilance is down a little bit. And the terrorists are, of course, lurking within our midst because we've had an open border these last 4 years. And so a lot of folks are afraid. And I've heard this on social media, on my own personal social media, that these UFOs that are flying in New Jersey and on the East Coast, a lot of folks are worried that maybe that's a precursor for a terrorist attack on this country. The most probably vulnerable time that we have in this country is during Christmas and New Year, especially with the New Year's Eve celebration in New York.
A reminder,
Times Square.
A reminder to everyone, as much as we hate to say it, folks, keep your head on a swivel when you're out and about. As Chris said, a lot of people are celebrating in great numbers, going to festivals, going to events. I was a little nervous the other night, taking the family down to Garden Glow, the Botanical Gardens. I hate feeling that way, but you know, with all of the stories we have right here in the city of St. Louis, you have to be vigilant. You're going to be with your kids. You're going to maybe be with your elderly loved ones. Just try to keep everyone safe. Just be aware of your surroundings. And if you see something weird, say something to a police officer, to a security guard, to whoever you can. You don't want to regret not reporting something later. So we'll keep an eye on that story. I was reminded, Chris, today that nearly an identical situation happened 8 years ago in a German Christmas market, and it was at that time carried out by the hands of ISIS.
And if you remember, it happened in Great Britain, I think around the 4th of July several years ago. Someone rented a box truck and used it to strike down a bunch of folks on a pedestrian bridge. So it's harder to get weapons and explosives in some of these countries to carry out these terrorist attacks. So their next weapon is a vehicle, or in some cases, just a knife, and to just go on a stabbing spree.
Similar situation occurred right after we had visited Nice, France. We were there in 2016, and a few weeks after we came home that summer, someone had rented a box truck, a terrorist, and barreled through an entire pedestrian walkway that we had actually been on. It was just makes shivers go up and down your spine. So, I wonder if the U.S. leftists, I hate to be tongue in cheek here, but I wonder if the U.S. leftists are now going to call to ban, assault vehicles. It shows you once again, it's not a gun problem. It's a culture problem. It's a violence problem.
And it also shows, too, is that this is people that are looking for an easy solution. So if there is a gun crime epidemic, as they call it, first thing to do is to ban the gun instead of looking at the underlying symptoms like their policies. And, you see, as I said earlier, you don't see mass or random gun attacks in Europe, but you do see knife attacks where 7 or 8 people can be stabbed to death and killed. You don't hear people talking about banning knives or calling them assault knives.
There's bombings, there's using vehicles, there's all sorts of things. Well, welcome to Friday's edition of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. It is 4:10 in the p.m. here on December the 20th. Man, 2024, we're 5 days away from Christmas. We want to continue to wish you and yours a very happy and healthy and safe holiday season. Many people are going to start getting on the road this weekend to go here and there, so be very careful and cautious. They predict more people than ever will be traveling by vehicle to avoid the congested airwaves. And of course, Pete Buttigieg has nothing in hand. So, that's probably one reason to drive. We're going to have Todd Schowalter, Chris, join us at 4:25. He is, of course, the official political cartoonist for News Talk STL. And guess what? He's got a brand new book out, The Biden Years, An Era of Stupidity. So we'll liven things up with Todd at 4:25.
Boy, is this volume 1, 2, and 3 of future volumes? I mean, boy, there's a lot of stupidity in this administration, especially towards the end where the president has kind of checked out. And I'll be very curious to ask Todd when he's on the show, who is in his crosshairs as a Democrat in the coming political cycle, 2025 and beyond. They won't have a leader as president. They really don't have someone as high-profile Democratic leader. They have Chuck Schumer, but he's about as charismatic as a wet sock. So they'll be wondering who will be his main character as a Democratic leader. I'm going to take a guess and say Gavin Newsom because he's got that Gordon Gekko hairstyle.
Yeah. You go after Gavin, Pritzker, Whitmer, all these contenders for 2020. Kamala Harris, Chris, may still be kicking around.
Oh, she's done.
He'll have her. I heard yesterday she is at the top of the ticket in Democrat polling to run in 2028, if you can believe it. What a crappy bench they have.
Well, that's absolutely insane because after one dropping out of the race in 2020 and not even getting to Iowa shows that she was not a very strong candidate. And then to be practically handed the nomination to be the nominee this year against everything that they threw at Donald Trump, and she was beaten soundly and allowed Donald Trump to be the first Republican to win the popular vote in a generation. I don't know, how does she win a 2028 primary?
I don't
right
know.
there.
I don't know.
It's amazing.
All the Republicans are cheering. Here's the story. It's in the Econo Times. Kamala Harris surges ahead in 2028 Democratic primary poll, leaving rivals far behind. I hope they're serious. I really do. I hope that they go ahead and run her for a second time.
Maybe that's an Ann Selzer poll.
Maybe it is. We talked about this the other day. You just mentioned that Joe Biden's AWOL. Boy, is he. And once again, another alleged conspiracy theory of those of us in right-wing radio and TV has come to be 1,000% true. The Wall Street Journal had the bombshell editorial yesterday. Today, the National Review. For 4 years, we've had a ghost for a president, and we were lied to. We were lied to about it all along. Remember, we were told we were crazy, we were mean, we weren't being factual, we were just being hacks when we would point out Biden's problems. Well, now it seems that Biden's problems absolutely existed, and they go all the way back to his first month in office.
Yeah, this is the biggest open secret in Washington in the last 4 years, and it started way before he entered the Oval Office. It started during the 2020 campaign when they locked him up in the basement and kept him away from the media under the guise of COVID protection. So, all of us, including the media, including the people close to the president, knew that Joe Biden was of diminished capacity. They were the ones trying to hide it from the American people. Those who don't follow politics as closely as we do may not have known that, but people that follow politics pretty closely, and the media and the people around him, especially Republicans, knew that this guy was of diminished capacity. And all you had to do was just look at his daily schedule, where he quit working at 4 o'clock, would have 2, maybe 3 things on his daily schedule. That doesn't sound like a president that's working very hard for the American people.
Shaking hands with people that weren't there, wandering on aimlessly on stages. I'm sorry, my bad. I was wrong. It wasn't an editorial. It was a nearly 4,000 word, deeply sourced story that dates back to 2021. That was in the Wall Street Journal. There's been a lot of follow-up reporting. Today, Corinne Jean-Pierre, the crazy French lady at the propaganda podium, she was excoriated by the mainstream press. They all suddenly woke up and realized that, yeah, we all were being lied to, and they were part of the lying. So I guess it's a big CYA moment for them, because now they're asking the tough questions about why Joe Biden wasn't present over the last 4 years. And more importantly, who was running the White House? Because he wasn't.
Yeah, and then you contrast that with when Donald Trump was in the White House. If he had any type of slip, they were accruing that to maybe he had some mental capacity himself when he was walking on a slick stage with dress shoes on, and he slightly slipped. The media was trying to portray him as a frail and elderly old man. So it's just ironic, in a sense, to just see them totally hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil when it came to President Joe Biden. But with President Trump, who was a few years younger than Joe Biden, every single misstep, they were asking the question, is he of diminished capacity physically and mentally?
Well, I think we set up Todd Schowalter's segment at 425 pretty well. His new book coming out, The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity. We'll talk about the Biden presidency, and now he may have to add another couple cartoons in there, given the news over the last few days. Third big story of the day today, and there's many more than these three, but the third biggest one that's breaking right now is a U.S. House vote is now imminent on Plan C to attempt to avert a government shutdown. If that vote occurs during our show, we'll let you know if this third plan that has been blessed by Donald Trump makes it through and we avoid a government shutdown, which is scheduled, partial government shutdown, which is scheduled for Saturday night at midnight.
Yeah, and this Plan C plan is a truly clean CR. The aid for farmers and ranchers, that will be a separate bill. Disaster aid will also be a separate bill. That this vote will be strictly on a continuing resolution to fund the government, I think, just through Christmas, just for a couple of weeks, and then after we come back, we have the same drama again. So who knows if this passes? As 38 Republicans did not vote for Plan B, so you've got a bunch of Republican members that are not going to vote for a continuing resolution.
Speaker Johnson's latest quote on this is, "We will not have a government shutdown." Well, that's what he's hoping. And we will meet our obligations for our farmers, the disaster victims, and everyone who relies on the federal government for a paycheck over the holidays. Multiple lawmakers have told various news outlets that the forthcoming legislation would extend current government funding levels, they're not increasing anything, through mid-March. That will be the continuing resolution. It'll be paired with $100 billion in disaster relief, as well as the agriculture bill. 3 separate bills. It'll be interesting to watch the vote breakdown on those 3 separate pieces of legislation.
It will. And also you have to factor in the Democrats who thought that they had a quote unquote bipartisan deal with McConnell, with Johnson earlier. You're still going to need Democrats to pass this bill. 218 Republicans are not going to vote for a continuing resolution. So you're going to need some Democrats. And you're just wondering how much pound of flesh they're going to ask for their support on this deal. And will President Trump-elect ultimately accept this to keep the government from shutting down?
We will let you know if and when that happens. Chris's Corner will be at 4:45 today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Christmas season and a couple of companies that are integral to the Christmas season. Some of their workers are possibly going on strike, are on strike. We'll talk about the big news out of Syria, that our government has been lying to us about the number of troops that are stationed there. And big news, Neil Cavuto, last night was his last night on Fox News, and is not the reason that many of you may think that he is leaving. And we'll talk about that on Chris's Corner at 4:45.
Interesting indeed. Perfectly dovetailing into the Speaker's stump speech. I'm going to talk about the reason for the season as well. And we're going to play Linus's favorite speech that appeared in the 1960-some odd version of the Peanuts, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. And this Linus's speech, originally, the networks were not going to run that. They felt it was too churchy. Isn't that amazing? Even back in the 60s, people were worried about political correctness and getting into areas of religion. And the speech made it. And it's actually the highlight. It's the climax of the little half-hour special. Going to play that today and kind of remind everybody what this is all about.
Yeah, and that Christmas special came out in 1966. I remember that because that was the year that I was born. And if you'll remember, Tim, in 1960 is when the Supreme Court ruled that cannot have public prayer in school. And so you're right there in the middle and beginning, in a sense, just 6 years after that important Supreme Court decision. You already have the progressives wanting to take religion out of society, especially a children's cartoon about Christmas, for God's sake, and causing an uproar even back then, 1966, just 58 short years ago.
Amazing.
58 short years ago.
It was like yesterday.
It was.
At the end of the Speaker's stump speech, we're going to have Chandler Haynes pop on with us. He's the political director for the Missouri GOP. He was at the Christmas party last night that I held with the young Republicans at Johnny's Hideout. We had a huge crowd, and Chandler said, "Hey, could I come on really quickly with you and Chris? We have a big announcement of something that the Missouri GOP is doing in regard to the city of St. Louis." And I said, "Oh, that's exciting." So he's going to come on and tell us what the GOP is up to. At 5:25, Patrick Tuohey, of course, one of our favorite senior fellows at the Show Me Institute. The commission that oversees the city's personnel department will hold a public hearing to consider formal charges against its own chief. Wow, unprecedented action. We'll ask Tuohey what that's all about at 5:25. And then 'tis the season to have all of our favorite advertisers in studio. Joe and Jeff asked if we'd have Tim Weir on today. Haven't had Tim on ever. He is the owner of AMF Electric. So for those of you who have any electrical needs, especially during this time of year, we've got the expert for you so you don't go messing around with your electrical system in your home yourself. So we'll wrap the show up with Tim Weir, another great supporter here of News Talk STL and AMF Electric.
You know, the Post-Disgrace had another story about a potential scandal or a situation that didn't look on the up and up regarding City Hall, the mayor, and potential contracts. There was a story today about a developer who wanted to develop part of Delmar in North St. Louis. That's part of Mayor Tashara Jones's pet projects to rejuvenate that area. And this gentleman was insinuating that a former girlfriend of the mayor's father, was involved in helping him get contracts. And insisted that she be paid a retainer in order to connect him with the right people in order to get these projects done. She wanted a $20,000 bill after a few months. She'd only set him up with one meeting with the mayor. He fired her, and now there's all of this rancor going on. So it doesn't matter for Tim if it's St. Louis City, it's St. Louis County. It's literally a scandal a week. It's the school board, it's the personnel department, it's people in St. Louis County. It's a scandal a week.
The story you just described sounds like the same exact story we've reported on about 5 times over the last couple of years. It's like just change the names out.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get back to fumbling Joe Biden, which even the legacy media is admitting was the day-to-day view of Joe Biden in the White House with Todd Schowalter. Todd's going to join us next. Official political cartoonist of News Talk STL, author of a brand new book. He's going to join us on the Tim Jones and Chris Harp Show here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
All right. God save the Queen, man.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. A high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter.
Hey everybody, it's your buddy Todd Schowalter. Join me and my buddy Joey V for The Right Mind Show when we put the fun in our dysfunctional world.
The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter. Saturday evenings at 5 on News Talk STL.
Joey, I think Stell sent out a text today saying that tomorrow is the first day of winter. And I think that forecast we just heard with a low of 24 proves that, hey, cold weather is no longer right around the corner. It is here. You know, if your old furnace is not working, or maybe if it's on its last legs. That's why I want you to give my friends over at Elite Comfort Experts a call. They don't offer just gimmicks. They just offer guarantees. They offer upfront, transparent pricing on repairs and replacements. We're coming into the new year, and that new year means there's going to be new government mandates and manufacturer price hikes. Delaying a replacement means paying more. But here's the good news. You can now save with tax credits, utility rebates, and easy financing. No gimmicks, just guarantees with Elite Comfort Experts. Emergency services available 24/7 when you need it most, but you don't want to use them for emergency. Go ahead and call them if you have an old furnace. You know, most HVAC contractors promise a 90-day installation warranty and a 30-day repair warranty. What do you get with Elite? A 1 year on all warranty and repairs. Elite is not interested in short-term relationships. They want to have a lifetime relationship with you. Elite performs comprehensive evaluations on all maintenance and repair services with a written evaluation report. As I've told you, my wife and I have used Elite Comfort Services. We are extremely happy with them, and they have a company culture of core values. Their team members understand that they are in a customer service business. If you want to experience them, visit them online at elitecomfortexperts.com, elitecomfortexperts.com, or give them a call at 636-887-0971, 636-887-0971. Tell them Chris Arps told you to call.
I've got a way for you to really dress up your home, and only one guy I'd trust to do it. Michael Proctor, like doctor. Michael will personally examine which drapes, blinds, or shutters will complement your home. He doesn't just measure, he designs, and to make sure it's done right, he will install them. All this saves you money on custom-made drapes, shades, and shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. ProctorDrapery.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Larry Connors here with a perfect Christmas gift for the conservative in your life. Let's go to southern Italy on a tour of the most beautiful coastline in the world, the Amalfi Coast. Join me for 11 magical days with professionals from Conservative Tours, $54.88. That includes airfare from St. Louis. Call toll-free 888-733-9494 or go to conservativetours.com. Let's go to Italy this spring.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today. GA.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Right, you're bloody well right. You got a bloody right to say.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
You know you got a right to say. You're bloody well right. You know you're right to say.
But this is the mess that was created by Speaker Johnson. He needs to fix this. That's what the American people need to be very clear about. Very clear. There was a bipartisan agreement, and he's not holding up his side of the bargain here.
We hear that message from you, but why aren't we hearing that directly from the president? Why haven't we seen or heard from President Biden himself?
This is a strategy that we have done many times before, not the first time. And this is for Republicans in Congress, in the House specifically, to fix. They created this mess.
4:30 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. Tim, is she saying the strategy is we hide Joe Biden away? Is she admitting that there?
Sounds like it.
That's what it almost sounds like there. Hey, it's a Friday. It's a weekend. Christmas is coming up. What a joy it is to have on the line with us the official political cartoonist for News Talk STL. He is Todd Schowalter. Todd, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh,
was that a good enough introduction for you?
That was fantastic. That was wonderful. I would like you to do it again so I can record it. And well, I can't do it right now. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. We're ready to get into this Christmas season. And we want to talk about this new book that you have written called The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity. I guess my first question, Todd, is this volume 1 of a series here, or what are you doing with this here?
It could be. I mean, it could be like a whole franchise, like a sequel. Just keeps going and going and going. I hope we're towards the end of it, though. But, it pretty much wrote itself. I mean, so I can't really take a lot of credit for it. I illustrated it and I did the jokes and stuff. But it's all classic Joe, who provides me with so much material that I should be paying him.
Todd, I mean, you're almost kind of, I'd like to say you and I and Chris and the rest of us are all prophetic about this with this blockbuster reporting that's come out. But Todd, it's not really blockbuster reporting, isn't it? Because we've been saying all these things about Biden for years, and we were called, what were we called, Todd? We were called everything, weren't we?
Well, we were called, here's the thing, we were always called conspiracy theorists and all that. And I said, no, I'm a visionary because it's going to come true. And sure enough, it does. And so, so you and I and Chris and Joey, we are visionaries. And that's a much
like
better.
That.
And that's, we're prophetic. I mean, we see what's actually going to happen before the lay-minded can. And so it's up to us to bring the truth to everyone beforehand so that the smart cerebral people can prepare for it, and then we can laugh at everybody else.
Todd, speaking of cerebral, your book, The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity, is this just a book, and I don't mean just the derogatory anyway, of your best cartoons of Joe Biden during his presidency? Or are there also some written words on there, and you put some intellectual thought in it, as well as your artistic, creative talent?
Well, I like to think everything I do comes with intellectual thought. Hey, Joey, don't cut me off here. It's close to 200 cartoons. It's a compilation of the last, I guess, about 3 years, really. It's just all the absurdity that we've lived through. So, I mean, along with Bumbling Joe, I mean, we deal with the whole COVID fiasco and men in women's bathrooms and the trans. I mean, think about it. I mean, what other generation has gone through this stuff that we have all lived through? I mean,
exactly.
if you had told me or anybody 10 years ago that this would have all happened, I would have thought, what are you smoking? I mean, it's crazy, but it's just kind of like, I like to think of it as a history book for people that don't like, people that like picture books. It's basically a picture book because it's cartoons. And so it's kind of a compilation of everything that's happened, what we've all had to deal with, how we've all laughed at it, and we've survived. And so it's kind of like a celebratory type of thing, just to commemorate everything that we survived. Did that sound good?
Yeah.
That's what my publicist said to say it.
Brilliant.
I don't have one.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Thank
Absolutely brilliant. Todd, and also it's kind of like your cartoons will now carry some of the import that like the Babylon Bee does, right? Because the Babylon Bee seems to also be prophetic. Your cartoons, you need to go back and look at these cartoons and be like, you know what? I was trying to make fun of him, but I was right about that, and I was right about that. And Todd, it calls into question, because the media lied to us about this, and the Biden administration lied to us about this, it calls into question everything that they have said to us. Well, no, this is absolutely true. And if you don't believe it, you're nuts, you're crackpots, and you're conspiracy theorists. So everything they've told us over the last 4 years is now called into question, whether or not it's true. And it makes you wonder, this affects our trust in our institutions that we need to otherwise trust, right?
Well, yeah, and there is no trust anymore. In fact, I like it. It's a good way for me. I personally, I can judge other people's intelligence by whether or not, and I'm not trying to be really, snarky or anything. Am I? But anyway, people that still go along with all this in the media, I saw it on the news, it's got to be true. I'm thinking, I don't think I want to have a conversation with this person because they're not that bright. And so it kind of, you can differentiate those of us that can really, tell the con from those who can't. I used to always say, and I still do, you can't BS a BSer, okay? And a lot of it, it became, there's certain things that were just so obvious. I think one of the breaking points for me was the whole COVID crap where we were standing 6 feet apart and all of that. I thought, no, wait a minute, this is taking it too far. And anybody that would still go along at that point, you thought, okay, there you can pretty much sell them a bridge. And so I don't trust the media in any way at all now. At all. In fact, I watch even on our local news, aside from getting the tally of who's been shot. I'll catch what the weather is, and a lot of time the weather's not even right. So I don't trust any of it. It's just basically entertainment. And journalism's gone out the window. I studied journalism in college, and the first thing they taught you was objectivity. And whether you like it or not, you got to tell the truth. And that it's all opinion now. So I don't want somebody's opinion. I want to know what happened. And that's all gone. So now I don't believe anything I see on television or read in the papers or anything, because it's all fabricated based on somebody's opinion that I don't care about.
Speaking with Todd Schowalter, official political cartoonist for News Talk STL, and we're discussing his new book, The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity. Todd, I want to ask you, is this the type of book that you want to have on your coffee table during Christmas time when you invite your liberal in-laws over for Christmas dinner?
I prefer that you use it as a coffee table because it's multifunctional. And that way, once you've read it or so, it has more purposes. Or you could use it
it's
as
weighty.
Mm-hmm. It's weighty. It's got a nice sheen to the cover. I made sure that they made it usable. So if you wanted a nice laminate, if you want to eat dinner off of it or something like that. So no, you could put it out there, and I think it would make a great gift for any of your liberal friends, liberal family members, just pretty much your people you're hoping will keel over, because once they read it, they probably will. And if you're in their will, lucky you.
Is it good for target practice? Maybe liberals maybe want to take some shots at it. Is it bullet resistant?
Oh, well, yeah, it could be. Just depends. Oh, no, but it's. I guess we'll know. You know what? I'll test that theory for you next week. We'll see what happens. But no, they're cartoons, and so basically, you can look at the pictures and read the cartoons, and it's fun for everybody, whether or not you agree with it or not.
Todd, in addition to everything else, in addition to everything we've just been discussing with you, that you are an accomplished artist and political cartoonist and an intellectual prophet, as we've decided you are today. You're a radio show host too. You're a Renaissance man. You got the Right Mind Show right here on News Talk STL every Saturday, 5 to 6 p.m. with some guy named Joey Vasa something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Joey's show.
Oh, it's Joey's show.
He invites me to come on because I bother him. I say, "Can I please come on today?" He goes, "As long as I don't have to attach my name to it." And so he says, I said, "Okay, that's a deal." So it's pretty much just me showing up and Joey's babysitting me, and he tells me what we're going to do, and then I have fun, and I get out of my wife's hair for a couple hours.
That sounds like what we do here. What's coming up on the big show this weekend? Who are you going to talk to? What are you going to talk about?
Well, it's our big Christmas show, holiday show. We've got Chrissy Mayer. She's coming on. She's a New York comedian. And she's very conservative. She was the one that was in the news a while back on Fox for calling out. She was being heckled by a big trans group, and she called them out, and that went viral. And she went. As a result, she has a podcast now that's much bigger than ours. And she's hilarious, and she's a mother, and she just had her first kid. So she's coming on. She's fun. We've got Coach Tom. He's coming in with the Battle Hawks.
Cool.
He's had a stint with the University of Illinois. Admiral Andy docks his submarine for a little bit, and then there's Joey and I doing our usual Joey stuff. And we've even prepared a duet that I don't want to tell you too much about.
Oh, fantastic.
Todd, since your book is titled The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity, I want to close out here with a serious question and ask you your thoughts on the announcement today that President Joe Biden plans to cancel student debt for 55,000 more public sector workers. This represents a cancellation of $4.2 billion. People that have received relief under the president have been 5 million, with a total of $180 billion has been forgiven by President Biden. Your thoughts, sir, on that?
Oh, it's really quite simple, Chris. What I did, I got a hold of my bank, and I said I want my mortgage changed to the University of Mortgage, and so just call it the University of Mortgage.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, I'm waiting to hear about it.
Oh, okay.
Right? Don't count on me paying this anymore, because apparently Joe in his stupor is going to take care of this, so we can all just, sleep. I go to call it the University of Mortgage and have a Merry Christmas. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, Chris and I were debating earlier, Todd, what volume 2 will be about now that Joe Biden will be exiting stage left. And we may never hear from him ever again. So is it going to be Kamala Harris? Is it going to be Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker? I mean, you got a whole murderer's row to choose from, don't you?
Who's your new foil?
It's basically a whole book of romantic poetry by Rob Reiner.
Oh God, the meathead.
I draw him in different type of in some different kinds of poses that I don't want to really describe on the air, and then it's just him like reciting his wonderful prose. Yeah, and I so far I have negative 40 buyers on that one, so I may want to rethink it.
I think a part of those negative 40 are the ones that were going to buy The Biden Years, an Era of Stupidity. You told them about volume 2 and it turned them off. So we don't want to do that. People can go to Amazon.com to get your book. They can also go to StudioTodd.com, and they can listen to you here on Saturdays on the RightMindShow.com and on News Talk STL. Todd, best of luck with your book, sir. Thank you for taking some time out of your day here, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Well, it's great to hear from you guys, and you all have a Merry Christmas, and I'm in there all the time, so even if you don't want me to, you'll see me soon.
I think you set the record today. I don't think any guest has ever done every single show in one day.
Let me see here. Nope, no, they never have.
All right, thanks, Todd. Appreciate it, man.
Love you.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Todd.
Merry Christmas.
All right, 4:42, Tim. We got Chris's Corner coming up. We'll talk about the strikes that are happening that may disrupt. What we got here happening now. House is voting on the spending bill. So maybe when we come back, we may have to interrupt Chris's Corner a little bit if there is a final vote. Big news here on a Friday. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. The high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show. National headlines and things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
got something shocking for you. We're going to talk electrical. Ha, get it? Hey, don't be shocking yourself messing around with the electrical stuff at your house if you don't feel comfortable doing it, if you're not skilled to do it, if you just would like someone else to do it. I've got the guys for you. I got the gang for you. Tim Weir is going to be in studio here about in an hour, and we're going to talk about AMF Electric. AMF Electric, yeah, hometown, homegrown, independently, locally owned, and full of a bunch of great American patriots. AMF Electric will make your home wiring and cabling installation their top priority so you can enjoy the comfort and safety that you deserve in your home. They do everything. New lighting, appliance hookups. Sometimes appliances get really complicated, especially the microwaves underneath the cabinetry and all that. Rewiring and cabling. Yeah, moving out. We've had to move some outlets around in our home. That's something to call AMF Electric for. Additional circuits. Maybe you're like, oh man, I need a plug here. I've never had a plug here. They can do that as well. Little things, big things. They can do. They can move around ceiling fans. They can do electrical. The canopy lights. Everything, anything. Let your mind run wild and then have AMF Electric come out and get her done. Commercial electric. They can handle commercial premises. They can do big and small because they have offices, everything from offices to parking lots, auto showrooms, restaurants, retail, and more. Industrial design. They handle the big stuff as well, the big industrial complexes, and they do it quickly. A lot of times you got to shut that stuff down, and then they'll get in there, knock it out lickety-split, and you can fire everything right back up. They're really a one-stop shop for all your electrical needs and so much more. And like I said, independently and locally owned. They have a 24/7 emergency line, 314-647-4066, 314-647-4066. If you can't remember that, you're out driving around right now, all you got to do is remember a very easy website to recall, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
Cabinet hopefuls are not the only ones making pilgrimages to Mar-a-Lago.
A new beginning.
You cannot deny that there's almost like this weight that's been lifted.
And fresh perspective.
I think Donald Trump has a strong mandate.
China's President Xi Jinping said that he is ready to work with the incoming administration.
Doesn't guarantee a happy ending.
Prosecutors said consideration must be given to potentially freezing the case.
What happens next?
Until after he gets out of office.
Happens here. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here for lunchtime. Capriotti's cannot be beat, and I love the grilled chicken parmesan at Capriotti's. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at midnight in Rock Hill.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
This is it, the final segment. But today I also wanted to let you know this is my final show. I am leaving Fox. I've been planning this day for some time. This just seemed like a good time. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, nearly it's about time. After all, I've been doing this for nearly 3 decades here. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season. May the new year be as fulfilling for you as these nearly 30 incredible years you've blessed me. That means a lot. You do too. Thank you.
449 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. And Tim, I think Sean Kennedy is the last one left from one of the original stars of Fox News.
Really?
Neil Cavuto leaving after 28 years. Both parties want people to know that it wasn't because of any bad blood or anything. This is something that we're starting to see in the industry, Tim, and I've read this in other areas, that because of streaming is cut into television profits, they don't have the money to pay these people the big money like they have
big
before.
7-figure salaries. Yeah.
You'll notice how the NBC Today Show people have left. I forgot her name. She was a long-term NBC person. Hoda Gatvi, and then there was another person that just had left Good Morning America. They left because the networks were renegotiating their salaries and wanted to drop them considerably. Stephanopoulos was being rumored months ago that his contract was up, and they were talking about cutting his contract dramatically. Michael Strahan, ABC co-anchor, had his salary cut. So Neil Cavuto, I figured this time in his career, it's time for him to head off into the sunset and leave behind a legacy at a network that changed network cable news. Some love him, some hate him, but he made his mark. Joy, let's go ahead and get into Chris's Corner.
Chris's Corner is brought to you by Elite Comfort Experts. Call 636-887-0971 or EliteComfortExperts.com.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
We talked about this yesterday, that one of the reasons the 2019 government shutdown ended after 37 days is because air traffic controllers started calling in sick, and that started delaying flights and causing havoc within the American travel system. And that's when a resolution was had. We've seen union members use their power at the absolute wrong time for full leverage. And we're seeing that here. Unionized Starbucks baristas, who would ever thought somebody schlepping coffee would be in a union, but that's a whole other story. In Los Angeles, Chicago, and Seattle are beginning a 5-day strike today, Tim, a 5-day strike. So instead of going to Starbucks and it taking you 30 minutes to get your drink, now it may take you an hour to hour and 10 minutes get your drink. So that's what that potential strike there is going to happen. Amazon drivers walked out of 7 facilities across 4 states. Now,
that's not good.
It's not good. Now, it's only a small part of Amazon's workforce in these 7 facilities, but it could get the Teamsters Union a foothold into Amazon, which would be great for them. I was at one time a Teamster member for the United Parcel Service back in the day before I went into the union. And they were making a whole lot of money off of Teamsters union dues, just off of UPS's 200,000 or 300,000 employees. Amazon probably has close to 1 million employees. Many of those could be unionized by them. So they're looking at that as a huge, huge payday for them. And I don't know how much sympathy that you are going to gain from the public striking 5 days before Christmas. Little Johnny may not get his present from grandma, and so that's not going to endear you to the public. As we mentioned before the break, right now the House is voting on Plan C, a spending bill to keep the government running past this tomorrow or tonight. I don't know the details, but the speculation was that each one of these spending bills and farm aid bills will be voted separate, and that will be just a clean CR to pass the bill, to have spending continue for a few more months. We shall see how that happens. How it happens with that. The vote is happening on the floor right now. But the vote yesterday, 38 House Republicans voted against Plan B, as they call it. One of them, of course, was our own Eric Burleson from Missouri, Bob Good from Virginia. He was the outgoing House Freedom Caucus chair. He voted against the bill. A couple of people that is kind of surprising, Doug Lamborn from Colorado and Debbie Lesko from Arizona, they voted against this, and they are retiring. So you would think that they wouldn't have much to lose. Just go ahead and vote to get along. But they voted against it. Thomas Massey, you've heard his name mentioned often in the House Oversight Committee. He voted against it. Blake Moore from Utah, he is a member of the House GOP leadership team. That was very surprising that he voted against this bill. The current House Freedom Caucus member, Andy Ogles from Tennessee, he voted against it. And Chip Roy of Texas voted against this. And as you know, Donald Trump has called on Texans to primary Chip Roy because of his vote against Plan B. He said this President Trump said this in a tweet or an X or whatever you call it. He said, quote, Chip Roy is just another ambitious guy with no talent. I hope some talented challengers are getting ready in the great state of Texas to go after Chip in the primary. He won't have a chance. So that is the first salvo in the 2026 race there in Texas regarding Chip Roy. I think with 30 other people voting against us, I think he's got a lot of cover, and I think that that he will be just fine. But we've got one thing in this bill that people are upset about that they're voting on, and this may be part of pork or exposure, but the people that grew up in North County, it's very important to them. Josh Hawley, Senator Hawley's Radiation Exposure Compensation Act was in the original package. It was taken out. Hawley blamed the speaker, of course. He said Johnson personally killed radiation relief in favor of more money for big pharma and other special interests. Tim, as many of you know, I used to work for Senator Jim Talent, one of the highlights of my political career. And part of that was on certain Thursdays would be my opportunity to pick him up from the airport and take him home after a week of in Washington. Well, Senator John Thune, the new majority leader, has told senators that they will be working Monday through Friday.
Oh, boy.
Maybe some Saturdays in the beginning of the new term next year. And so he said even 7 days a week in some terms. So there's a new sheriff in town with Senator John Thune. Senators basically were working Tuesday through Thursday because they would fly into Washington on Monday night, and the first votes wouldn't be till Tuesday afternoon. So pretty good gig there if you can get it, Tim. $175,000 a year, 3 days a week of working, excellent health and benefits, excellent pension, excellent travel reimbursement. Pretty good gig if you can get it. And that is Chris's Corner.
Chris, it appears that the first vote has been successful. They're still voting and they haven't dropped the gavel, but right now 337 to 31 is the current tally on the initial spending bill. Got 2 more votes to go, but it looks like everything is going to pass.
And that is a vote meaning we are a few days from Christmas and we don't want to be here. I think they call that in Washington getting the jet fumes. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
It's Friday!
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peters, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel Financial Advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. House Speaker Mike Johnson is working feverishly to avoid a government shutdown beginning at midnight this evening. GOP Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa says often people who back a government shutdown hope to gain leverage in negotiations, either to avoid a shutdown or to reopen the government.
What I have found in past instances when that's been tried, you shut the government down, you open the government up, and that member or members have not accomplished the goal that they want to accomplish.
At least 2 people are reported dead when a car drove into a Christmas market in the German city of Magdeburg. At least 60 people were injured in the suspected attack Friday evening, including 15 who were hurt very seriously, according to the city government's website. Authorities are calling it a deliberate attack. The driver of the car has been arrested. There's been an increase in flu cases across the country.
The CDC says 13 states reported high or very high levels of flu-like illness last week. That's about double compared to the week before. One of those states is Tennessee. A clinic in Nashville is reporting as many as a quarter of its patients are reporting flu-like symptoms. No flu strain seems to be dominant, but it's too early in the season to know how good a match the flu vaccine will be. Flu experts suggest everyone get vaccinated, especially now, leading up to the holidays. I'm Ed Donahue.
Florida agriculture suffered more than $190 million in losses from Hurricane Milton, making it the costliest for farmers and ranchers of 3 cyclones that struck the state in 2024, that according to University of Florida researchers. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 498 points, the NASDAQ up 199. More at townhall.com.
If anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hear that? The soothing sounds of a bubble bath. And if you were here, you'd smell a single cedar candle. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens out on the road, riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive. So if you ride, get back on the road and enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance from Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. And then take a shower, because it's fast, like your motorcycle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage. Not available in all states.
5. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. The high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Merry Christmas. I'm Amber, and when I found out I was pregnant, my world was already crashing around me. I was bouncing from house to house and sleeping in my car. I Googled abortion and Thrive popped up. So I called and made an appointment. The women I met that day was so sweet and helpful. They saved my baby that day. When I was scared about not having an income during maternity leave, Thrive was there. They gave me hope and strength. It was like the Lord showed me that I wasn't alone. because Thrive was there for me and my baby. Because of listeners like you, I get to celebrate Christmas with both my 4-year-old son and my 1-year-old daughter this year. Would you help the next mother in need? You can go to thrivealivestl.org right now to see your $33 gift double match and trigger the rescue of the next child. That's thrivealivestl.org. thrivealivestl.org.
We talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
1019 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
We have a unified Republican conference. There is a unanimous agreement in the room that we need to move forward. I will not telegraph to you the specific details of that yet because I've got a couple of things I got to wrap up in a few moments upstairs, but I expect that we will be proceeding forward. We will not have a government shutdown, and we will meet our obligations for our farmers who need aid, for the disaster victims all over the country, and for making sure that military and essential services and everyone who relies upon the federal government for a paycheck is paid over the holidays. I'll give you the more details here in just a few moments.
Well, this time, third time was a charm, and he was finally correct. The House has passed an interim spending bill. It is much more narrowly tailored to the specific problems at hand, and it has passed the House. Onward to the Senate. Chris, I haven't heard about any Senate turmoil or drama over this bill. Most of the Democrats voted for it in the House, so I would imagine the senators are going to pass it as well, but we'll have to wait and see.
I think the Democrats will pass this bill, one, because as I was saying, they want to start the holidays and leave Washington, D.C. And when the deal blew up yesterday, Schumer, the majority leader, said that the Republicans need to go back to, quote unquote, the bipartisan deal that they had, which signals to me that they were in support of it. You look at the final vote, 34 members, Republicans did not vote for it, which means that there had to have been some Democrats that crossed the line and voted.
All of them.
All of them voted for this. And I think the sticking point for the Democrats, they would have voted for this yesterday, but the sticking point for them was the raising of the debt limit. In this scaled down version, that was taken out. The farm aid, ranch aid, disaster aid was in there, but that debt limit being taken out, that was palatable enough for the Democrats. And that's why we have this overwhelming vote to extend the government funding for at least a few more weeks.
So there you go, folks. The Congress will successfully spend more of your money as the national debt, speaking of the national debt, has climbed past $36 trillion, and the national deficit, the annual deficit, is over $1.8 trillion. Some point, somebody's going to have to do something about this.
Yeah, we have to go back to regular order of spending bills. I heard a very interesting, I forgot whose show it was, might have been Vic's show or someone's, that said in the last 40-something years, we've only had 3 or 4 budgets that have gone through regular order, where all 13 appropriation bills were voted on and signed by the president. What we have now is this omnibus Christmas bill situation that happens at the end of the year, and we see it every single year. And when you have government that is so closely divided, it creates a situation where you're not going to have the parties wanting to compromise on too many things, and you can't lose a lot of votes when you have a very narrow majority, which gives a lot of factions outsized power.
And the Democrats, definitely, very few Democrats want to do anything serious about the debt or the deficit. So that leaves one other party. So the Republicans are going to have to get back to Reagan Republicanism and fiscal conservatism. And one way to do that is to grow out of it. And I know Donald Trump is hoping to grow the economy, but you're also going to have to address the spending. And a perfect example of that is what happened in Kansas about 15 years ago. They cut taxes, they ramped up spending, and they had a fiscal disaster. You can't keep spending at these levels and not address the spending
a lot of
issue.
people are worried about President Trump-elect spending discipline because he advocated for the elimination of the debt limit. Does that mean that he wants to spend a lot of money and hopefully get cuts to offset that? But a lot of fiscal conservatives have raised their eyebrows about that.
And there's plenty of things to cut. All you have to do is look up Rand Paul's annual airing of grievances that he issues every year around the mythical holiday that Seinfeld made famous of Festivus. And it's a start. I know it doesn't get us to where we eventually need to be, but it's a start. When you look at some of the things the government wastes money on, it's shocking that we spend money on things. A lot of money that we spend in foreign countries studying bizarre things like Wuhan bat viruses. You could start there and cut that out. There's all that unspent there. Did you know there's still unspent COVID cash, billions of dollars of it floating around? Inflation Reduction Act money, Inflation Creation Act money, billions of dollars still floating around. How about claw all of that back? And that would be that might do not much to the debt, but it would help the deficit right off the bat.
Some people would say that's the equivalent of a extremely obese person ordering a Diet Coke with their value meal.
I hear you, but the opposite is to keep doing what we're doing, which is ridiculous and insane. And the last thing you should do is give an extreme. Remember that Monty Python? I don't know if you watched any Monty Python growing up. There was the big fat dude. There was that one scene in I think it was Life of Brian or it might have been one of the other ones. And he's this great big dude. He's like 1,000 pounds. And the guy's like, how about just one more thin mint? And he's like, no, I can't have none of that. And he forced him to eat this tiny little mint, and he blew up literally on television. So that's kind of where we are,
I agree.
And so you got to start somewhere. Hey, what are we going to do this hour? We're going to speak to Chandler Haynes, political director for the Missouri GOP, in just a moment, right after the speaker's stump speech. He's got an announcement about it.
To tell me about that because I have no idea what it is. Don't tell. No,
I won't. Okay, I won't tell you. Chris. It's a special announcement about. I meant to tell you in the break.
I'm going to be surprised.
It's something the Missouri GOP is doing for the first time ever in the city of St. Louis. I think that's fantastic. We always complain about the state party not paying attention to the local areas here in the urban areas because there's so many Democrats. And like, nope, we're going to change that. We're going to do something. That's great. Patrick Tuohey at 5:25 and Tim Weir, who is the owner of AMF Electric, will be in studio. Well, I know we want to get to Chandler in a moment, so how about I get to the speaker stump speech? It'll be short and sweet today. I think you'll really like it. It involves the prophet Linus, as I call him, of Peanuts fame, giving us and telling Charlie Brown and the rest of us what the real meaning for the season is. Charlie Brown, you remember in the special, was just exasperated. He thought Christmas was being over commercialized. Boy, and that was, as Chris said, 58 years ago. How it has gotten worse. And so he reminds us of the reason for the season, and that is the subject of today's speaker stump speech.
Right.
Listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
I guess you were right, Linus. I shouldn't have picked this little tree. Everything I do turns into a disaster. I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Sure, Charlie Brown. I can tell you what Christmas is all about. Lights, please. And there were in the same country shepherds, abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. And the glory of the Lord shone round about them. And they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not. For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel A multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown.
There you have it.
Just the innocence of that.
And that's what Christmas is all about. News Talk STL Nation. Hope that helps you kind of get into the spirit of Christmas and truly remember with your friends and your family what it is all about and why we do all this and why we celebrate all this every time this year.
And Becky texted me what the announcement was. So
okay,
I'm excited
you ready
to hear
for
it. Let's go.
All right,
Let's
here we
do
go.
it.
Let's bring in our next guest. He is Chandler Haynes. He is the political director of the Missouri Republican Party. We've had him on the show before. We're happy to welcome him back. Chandler, good evening. Welcome back to News Talk STL.
Chandler.
Tim, Chris, how in the heck are you boys doing?
Hey.
And you know what? I am in the Christmas spirit. I'm in the holiday spirit because the GOP is bringing presents to the Republicans of St. Louis City.
Do tell, Chandler, what is going on?
Well, we're pleased to announce that, I suppose not really announce, there's been lots of great grassroots people that have been running the ground game on this ahead of our involvement. But I'm wanting to tell all the good conservatives that listen to News Talk STL, as they all should, it's your duty. The ghost of Ronald Reagan will haunt you if you don't. Tune in every day. I know it's true. I missed it one day and he haunted me that night. I want to let everybody know that we are gathering signatures to put Andrew Jones on the ballot for mayor of St. Louis. Now, this is probably a name that's familiar to some of your listeners. He's run for Congress as a Republican up in the 1st District, doing God's work, trying to first unseat Cori Bush and then running against Wesley Bell after she got defeated in the primary. And we need signatures. We need signatures to get him on the ballot because we think we actually have a real shot to unseat this horrible administration that has done nothing but neglect the people that it is supposed to be taking care of, protecting and providing for.
Chandler,
we believe at the Republican Party that Andrew Jones is the person to help change that.
Chandler, talk more about this process of having to get signatures in order for Andrew to be on the ballot, and also talk about how the city of St. Louis has kind of a ranked choice voting mechanism. So Andrew could really have a chance here.
Absolutely. So the way that the city elections are structured is very abnormal as far as, well, not very abnormal, it's very normal for the city, but it doesn't follow a standard sort of primary to general process like you see for example, United States president. That's what most people are most familiar with. So there is a primary process and there is a general process, but it's a nonpartisan race. So listeners at home, I'm sure, are saying, how can you have primaries if there aren't parties? Well, I'm glad that you asked. It works sort of like ranked choice voting, right? And I know we've probably, if you're a listener to News Talk STL, you've gotten to hear Chris and you have gotten to hear Tim talk about how bad ranked choice voting is. Thank God, in the state at least, that nonsense has been banned.
Yes.
And since, the way that elections work in St. Louis isn't a genuine ranked choice voting, it's more of a process of elimination, it's not the same. But that's how the primary works up here. It's almost a first round of voting. You could call it ranked choice voting, but it's not the same exactly. But you're absolutely right. Thanks to the way that votes get divvied up in the city, we have a real shot here if we can bring some momentum to bear on the city to change the way that things are done out here. We're collecting signatures right now because as late as we are in the year, you have to do special things in order to put your candidates on the ballot. We're having great success. I'm actually talking to you right now from the parking lot of the Schnucks that is on Chippewa. And the people down here, let me just tell you, are enthusiastically supportive of seeing a change in Joneses down at City Hall. Let me tell you. So if you are a conservative, if you are a Republican, or if you are a Democrat or a nonpartisan that is listening to this show and you are sick of the crime that is happening in St. Louis, if you're sick of the potholes, if you are just shocked and flabbergasted by the scandalous amount of just wasteful spending that has been uncovered by the schools recently, then I would encourage you to go to our Fenton office. And if I can get that address here in a little bit, actually. Can't believe I'm forgetting it.
Gravois Bluffs. Yeah.
Yes, Gravois Bluffs. Absolutely. That's where it's going to be. And we'll have petitions down there. We're going to be all over the city collecting signatures. Like, if you are, like I said, I don't know what else to tell you. If you shop at Schnucks, look for us. We're going to be out in front of the Schnucks that are in the city all night tonight and all day tomorrow. So if you have grocery shopping to do tomorrow, maybe make a detour over to Schnucks and pick up a gallon of milk you maybe don't need to sign the petition to put Andrew Jones on the ballot. You got to be a St. Louis City resident. You got to be a registered voter to sign it. But everyone is welcome. We need a lot. We need a lot of signatures. I think we need how many more? There's about 1,000 more that we need. But I'm confident that with the team that I've brought up here and with the volunteers that have already been doing the work ahead of time, we're going to get enough signatures to put an actual choice on the ballot for mayor of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to be just not going to be just a choice between crazy Democrat or crazier Democrat. You're going to actually have a choice for good governance, for competent values, and for a return to normalcy.
Chandler, I have one last question for you, my friend. Has anyone ever told you that you have a soap opera leading man's name, Chandler Haynes? that could be like in The Young and the Restless or something. Are you a third? Like Chandler Haynes the third would be like, that's a soap opera leading man name.
I'm flattered by it. And, I haven't been told that I have a soap opera leading man name, but I have been told that I have the face and a mustache for radio.
There you go. There you go. Tim and I share that.
I shared that with Tim one time, and he was like, "Oh, Chandler." And I'm like, "What? That's a compliment, right?" And he's like, "Sure it is, bud. Sure it is."
Chandler, we got to roll, but we want to thank you for your dedication and perseverance in helping us not give up on our urban and suburban areas in the state. Thank you to the Missouri GOP getting involved with this, especially on a pretty chilly, windy evening here in December. Thank you for everything, Chandler. I want to wish you and everybody at the Missouri GOP a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll look forward to working with you guys into 2025 and beyond.
Chandler Haynes.
Absolutely. And I've got that address, actually. So if you want to come sign this petition to put Andrew Jones in for as a guy who's run as a Republican before, it's a nonpartisan office, but he's going to run nonpartisan. If you want to sign this petition, come down to 794 M Gravois Bluffs Boulevard. That's 794 M.
It even pronounces in the real French too. Yes. That's impressive. You pronounce it in the real way.
We are in St. Louis, are we not?
That's very true. Very
Chandler
true.
Right by the J.C. Penney down there, listeners.
Excellent.
By the J.C. Penney in Gravois Bluffs.
Gravois Bluffs.
Yeah, fantastic.
Come down there tomorrow and sign the petition.
Thank you, Chandler. We got to run. We appreciate
Chandler
you very
Haynes.
much. All right, there
he
he
does have
goes.
a great name, though.
Yep, folks, all you got to be is a resident of the city of St. Louis. You can go down in one of those locations Chandler mentioned, or you can go to the Missouri Republican Party headquarters here in St. Louis County. Everybody knows where that is. Chris and I have done live remotes there, trivia nights and everything else. That's at Gravois Bluffs Boulevard, right by the J.C. Penney.
Hey.
5:22 in the p.m. Two more guests for all y'all this evening before we hand you off to Larry Connors USA. Patrick Tuohey at the Show Me Institute. He's going to join us next. Does Missouri need its own Doge committee? And what in the world, speaking of the city, is going on now at City Hall? All of that and more next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. The high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
It's time that everybody wake up and pay attention.
Live and local.
Recent criminal indictment of Donald Trump. About the fourth one. The fourth one. The one he got the free gift with. I think it's a tote bag.
This is News Talk STL.
Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. Yeah, they service everyone all across the great land. They've helped me on numerous occasions and still do recover from day-to-day aches and pains, but they do so much more than that. Yes, they've got think of it as like a pyramid, and the base is having, a good, going in for, chiropractic adjustments, getting your musculoskeletal system all realigned, taking care of nagging injuries, and then there's so much more. if you want to advance your health and wellness into the new year, and I'm not talking about making New Year's resolutions that you break or forget about in a few weeks. I'm talking about making a change to your lifestyle, something that's going to stick to you, and doing it. And so it's fun, it's interesting, and it's helpful. Well, that's the studio at Comprehensive Chiropractic, the Health and Wellness Center. Yes, Pilates, yoga, and many other classes with certified instructors and personal attention, all in it's a really beautiful atmosphere. I often tell you, it looks kind of like Scottsdale or Arizona. Beautiful skylights, big tall ceilings, really cool. Massage therapy. Yeah, I know that sounds like an indulgence. It's great, but it's also helpful to your overall well-being because the chiropractic deals with a lot of the skeletal structures and things and getting everything back into alignment. And then the massage therapy works on those aching muscles, and that deep tissue massage is really good for those of you who are athletes or just try to be weekend warriors. Yeah, they can take care of young and old. At Comprehensive Chiropractic, doesn't matter. They'll also work with you on your diet, kind of that holistic experience. They got personal trainers that they can sign you up with. It's all very affordable. It's all very reasonable. And I'll tell you, from speaking from personal experience, it's all very productive. It actually works. And that's why I continue to go back to them time and again. In fact, I have an appointment set up, I believe, next week to help me get ready for the holidays. Comprehensive Chiropractic and everything they offer, everything I've just been describing and talking about is available online 24/7 at chiropractic.com. That's chiropractic.com. Go to Comprehensive Chiropractic for all your comprehensive healthcare needs.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Hey, how you doing? Santa Vic here.
And Santa's head Vic head here.
And you can win some great prizes with News Talk STL's St. Louis Conservative Christmas.
You forgot the ho, ho, ho. What? You forgot the ho, ho, ho.
Oh!
No, ho, ho.
Oh!
A St. Louis Conservative Christmas. Log on to newstalkstl.com for your chance to win. Brought to you by Woodson Stonefire, Tropical World Pets, El Morelia Supermercado, and Metro Shooting Supplies.
Oh!
Attention, reptile lovers. Ready to discover your next scaly friend? Welcome to the Show Me Reptile Shop, your ultimate destination for fascinating reptiles and exotic pets, with 3 convenient locations in Troy, St. Peters, and Springfield. We have an amazing selection of snakes, lizards, turtles, and more. Whether you're a seasoned herpetologist or a curious beginner, we've got the perfect pet waiting for you. Show Me Reptile Shop. Visit us in Troy, St. Peters, or Springfield, and online at showmereptileshow.com.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
And you look, Elon's solving major problems of physics. I came from the world of biology. What we're solving here now is not a natural problem. This is a man-made problem. And when you have a man-made problem, you better darn well have a man-made solution. That's what we're bringing to the table. We're assembling the brightest minds in the country. This is the equivalent of a modern Manhattan Project to take on, I think, the major problem holding our country back. It's the federal bureaucracy. Target that cost, save the money, restore self-governance. This Department of Government Efficiency, it is built with an end date. We want to be done by July 4th, 2026.
Wow, the Doge duo up on the federal level. What about on the state level? Should we have any kind of Doge committees or efforts here? Let's bring in our next guest and ask him.
And now a man who comes alive when there's bad public policy in Missouri, Patrick Tuohey.
Every day. Patrick Tuohey, Senior Fellow at the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Patrick, good evening. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Hope you're having a great warm day, even though it's pretty chilly outside. And we want to ask you right off the bat, what about Doge on the state level? Should we have another committee for that? They could also do some things, I think, just on their own, right? Without a need for another committee.
Well, first of all, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And it is cold out here, but I have finished all my Christmas shopping. So
Good for you.
It's all done.
Yeah, Amazon really helps with that, doesn't it, Pat? You can just sit there in your office and order Christmas presents.
It really does. I think 80% of my shopping was done online, so no complaints there. But about your question, absolutely. There are plenty of opportunities for every state, including Missouri, to look at spending. And I don't want people to focus just on the waste, fraud, and abuse. That sounds great. It's an easy thing for politicians to grab hold of, but it's vague. And really what we need to do in Missouri is focus on what are the things that aren't waste, fraud, and abuse, but just bad policy. We are just winding down the tenure of a Missouri governor in Mike Parson, who in 3 years has expanded the general fund by 50% in just 3 years. And so it's not enough to cut taxes. We also have to cut spending. And it, again, as you gentlemen know, it doesn't necessarily mean cutting dollars. We may also decide that there are all sorts of regulations that are increasing the cost of private enterprise, licensing, housing, zoning, paperwork, all that type of stuff. So I think it's a welcome idea, but it is easier said than done. And I'll be honest with you, in Missouri, our Republicans who claim to be the party of less government are falling down on the job.
You know, Patrick, instead of the governor in Missouri putting together a Doge commission, I think he should just go to the good scholars there at the Show Me Institute. You all have done monumental work over the years on spotlighting government waste and highlighting how we could have more efficient government. I mean, you answered some of my question here, but what are some of the things that the Show Me Institute has recommended in the past to rein in government spending and waste?
Well, so for example, we have published, as we publish every year of the last few years, a Missouri blueprint in which we make recommendations on some prominent issues to the legislature. What are the opportunities? My background, and look, you've talked to my colleagues, they will have things that we could do to make education better. We've got opportunities that we talked about years ago when Governor Greitens first came in about criminal justice reform. But my, what I've been banging on my high chair for years is getting rid of the way in which we collect tax dollars and then give it to wealthy, well-connected developers or whatnot, rather than just saying, you know what, let's get out of the way. Let's let people keep their money in the first place rather than collecting taxes and giving it out. And I think one issue, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I think Missouri spends more of the corporate tax that we collect on just giving it back than we collect in the first place. So it would be a pretty straightforward budget item to just stop collecting some taxes so that we don't have to, burden everybody just to benefit a few people who get it back.
Speaking to Patrick Tuohey, Senior Fellow at the Show Me Institute. Patrick, besides a Doge committee, the legislature could continue to do what they did last year, right? And whack about almost $2 billion out of the budget, something that hadn't been done in nearly a decade. And since they did that, 6-7 months ago, the sky hasn't fallen. The world hasn't come into an end in Missouri. And no one's really been bellyaching or complaining. And it was a pretty wise thing to do, wasn't it, Patrick? Because everybody was saying the economy is going to contract. the COVID cash is going to run out and budgets are going to experience shortfalls. Well, if Missouri is cost conscious and continues to be so like they were last year, that's one way to streamline and make government more efficient, right?
Now, again, I think there are. So first of all, if I were, king of Missouri, the first point I would want to make to the people is, and I think we start getting this wrong in like 8th grade social studies, where we identify a problem, and then the first question our textbook asks us, or we ask, is, well, how can government solve this? And we're already wrong, because what we should say is, if society identifies a problem, well, what can be done to solve this? And so, for example, we talk about poverty, we talk about homelessness. I would love it if every state, certainly Missouri, turned to their nonprofits, turned to the charities, the churches, and said, how can we get out of your way so that you can provide for the men and women in need, for the children in need, and certainly get out of their way, and maybe even collect less in taxes that we then use to provide for these services, collect less, and let those private institutions that are better able to meet the needs of men and women on the street, again, get out of their way. If, for example, we spend an awful lot of money, and we spend an awful lot of money on economic development in Missouri, go to our biggest employers, go to our biggest developers and say, how is the government driving up costs? We want to develop more. We don't need government to develop more. St. Louis and Kansas City, we want people to move in. We talked about this a few weeks ago. We want people to move into our downtowns, but they're not. So let's talk to them. What are the reasons that are keeping you out? And so I think Missouri, the people of Missouri, can solve an awful lot of these problems, but it doesn't mean you go to government every time. Sometimes, as Reagan reminded us, government is part of the problem. So I absolutely think we can cut an awful lot of spending in Missouri, but again, notwithstanding a few cuts here and there, Governor Parson has been moving us in the wrong direction.
Patrick, as you know, St. Louis City government is a model in corruption and dysfunction. The latest dysfunction is this situation with the city's personnel director. She's being brought up on formal charges to remove her. Your colleague, David Stokes, who we have on every Tuesday at 4:25, actually is siding with the mayor in this dispute. He believes that the mayor should have more power than an entrenched bureaucrat. Your thoughts on this whole sordid mess?
Well, it is a mess, and I am perfectly willing, in the specifics of what's at hand, to go to a court and to see, have them both present what's going on and deal with that particular issue at hand. But I do understand David's point, which is the mayor is elected, and whoever, when you elect the mayor, part of the understanding is you want the mayor to run government. Either to hire or fire, so that when if the people are unhappy, they can hold someone accountable. When you have kind of these long-term bureaucrats who sit in the system, they aren't responsive to the democratic system. So I get, I agree with David in the big picture. On this particular case, I'm perfectly happy to let's see what the investigation bears out. Let's see what the lawsuit bears out, because, as Kissinger said of the Iran-Iraq war, it's a shame they both can't lose. Sometimes when city bureaucrats fight each other, conservatives stand on the line and say, you know what, we'd love for them both to lose, but we don't want our government to fall apart. But St. Louis has so many problems, and this is just an example of it.
Patrick, that's your second historical figure you've quoted here in this interview. You doing a lot of late night reading history there lately?
By the way, I am reading an excellent book about Grover Cleveland, who was the only other person to be elected to 2 non-consecutive terms. And it is a fascinating book, if for no other reason than there are so many political parallels between now and then. At the time, they were talking about tariffs and civil service reform. And so it's a fantastic read.
Did Grover have an assassination attempt as well? I don't know.
Oh, gosh. I mean, they were dropping like flies back in the day. So, maybe, but it wasn't successful.
Speaking to Patrick Tuohey, he's a senior fellow at the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Patrick, I know the Show Me Institute has come out with its Blueprint 2025. They come out with a blueprint every year. A lot of great ideas for our legislators to consider. A lot of great ideas for all Missourians to take a look at and advocate that their legislators check them out. What are some of your favorites? What would you like to see the legislature in principle pick up and discuss this year?
So I talked a little bit ago about economic development reform. Again, basically just say, rather than create barriers and then pay you to overcome them, let's remove those barriers in the first place. I love what Missouri has done with school choice. I think we need to expand the franchise. I think anybody in Missouri should be allowed to send their child to any institution, again, within reason, that meets standards and can meet the needs of that child. I think too many people, when they hear the term public education, think of the public school building, or maybe think of the public school teachers union. And so they get invested in the tools rather than the point. I could argue, you could argue, a lot of your listeners could argue that even private education meets a public goal of educating our population. And ultimately, that should be our goal of educating population. I have no problem if the state wants to set up standards and hold private schools accountable to those standards. But I don't think the government needs to be administering and running the day-to-day stuff. But again, anything that allows parents more choice in the education of their children, and many of them will choose public schools, I think is a great way, not just to provide for better education, but I recently authored a paper for the Yorktown Public Policy Foundation in Virginia that observed that if you increase school choice, you actually get economic development because you get rid of the barriers that keep poor neighborhoods poor and wealthy neighborhoods wealthy based on their schools.
Patrick, speaking of St. Louis dysfunctionality, specifically St. Louis County, a judge today sided with Governor Parsons on who should appoint the next St. Louis County prosecutor. I know you're not an attorney or anything, but your overall thoughts on another black eye for the St. Louis metro region?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. I am not, thankfully, an attorney, and so I will yield to others on things like this. But again, I think it's really important. And the mayor versus the personnel director in St. Louis, and this example for appointing attorneys is what you have is different people within government advocating against each other. And I think that's really important. We have it in the federal government where the states will resist. Our attorney general was involved in a lot of it, will resist federal policy. I think it's great that we have, within a city, we can have people that can argue vociferously about policy. And, I was sitting at a Federalist Society, which is kind of a conservative lawyers group the other day, and they were talking about how people are, bring cases against the federal government. And sometimes the federal government loses. And I thought to myself, what an incredible country we live in, where individual citizens can sue the government and sometimes win. And I think we take that for granted, that we are ultimately a great nation. We are a free nation. We can argue about the little things at the city, state, federal level, but ultimately it's our freedoms and it's our free course and it's our ability to petition government that has made us, in really a short period of time, the greatest nation in the world.
Exactly, because other countries, you petition your government, Tim, you may end up disappearing.
So you go pound
and
sand.
No one sees you again.
That's Patrick Tuohey, senior fellow at the Show Me Institute, showmeinstitute.org. Patrick, you have a great and very happy and healthy Merry Christmas with your family, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again, I think most likely into the new year when we'll have plenty to discuss here in Missouri and beyond.
Merry Christmas.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
You too as well. All right, 5:44 in the PM. We got one jam-packed segment left, and we'll prepare you for Larry Connors USA when Chris and I and producer Joey come back here at 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
You know, as Kissinger said of the Iran-Iraq war, you know, it's a shame they both can't lose.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Tonight, decreasing clouds will drop to a low of 24. For Saturday, sunny skies, not quite as cold. And good news, it's not going to be windy either. The high about 37. Clear skies Saturday night will drop to 26. And on Sunday, sunny and even warmer with an afternoon high of 44 degrees. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
On the next, Larry Connors, USA.
The latest on a budget to stop a federal government shutdown and Elon Musk as Speaker of the House.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
An accused CEO killer, Luigi Mangione, woke up behind bars in New York after waiving extradition. You see that very long walk and chains there. His new home is Brooklyn's Federal Metropolitan Detention Center, and his jailhouse neighbor, how's this for a headline? Sean Diddy Combs. So after arriving to New York, the 26-year-old murder suspect appeared in federal court where a judge read the federal charges against him.
Those charges, especially the one where it's using a firearm for murder, could carry a maximum death penalty sentence.
548 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. And this is just a tragic case all around. I don't want to elicit a lot of empathy or sympathy for Luigi Mangione, but here's a guy who has it all. Grew up in a privileged family, went to an elite boys school, has a degree, 2 degrees from an Ivy League school, and he seems to have thrown it all away, Tim, on some righteous revenge tour against this UHC, Universal Healthcare CEO. It's a tragic situation all around, obviously.
And it's very strange that he chose this. He didn't even have United Healthcare insurance. So I think everyone's trying to figure out, why'd you target this guy? Just because you could?
I think UHC is the largest. I think he was trying to make a statement and just make a statement and take him out.
Yeah, and it's amazing how some on the left are using this as a rallying cry. It's disgusting. It really is horrible.
Couple of AI stories here I want to go over. Very, very interesting, Tim. I saw it this afternoon or earlier this week. There is a congresswoman who is retiring from Congress. She has some type of debilitating disease that has taken away her speech, but she gave her farewell speech. It was AI assisted. And so, they took her voice from other speeches. She wrote something out of what she wanted to say. And she sat there at the podium listening while her voice was reading her farewell statement in her own voice. And I think she's got
there's a good use for it.
Yeah, I think she's got ALS, so she's not able to speak anymore, and she's leaving Congress, and she gave her AI helped her give her farewell address. So some of the good uses of AI. Joy, this is up your alley here. I've never heard of this guy, filmmaker Nenad Sissin-Sane. Have you ever heard of Nenad Sissin-Sane?
I don't know if you can say nads on the radio.
I didn't say gonads.
Is he a documentary filmmaker?
Yeah, I don't know. It just says filmmaker NENADCICIN/SAIN. He set out to use AI to write his next screenplay. And this is what he said. He said, I expected it to instantaneously pump out a screenplay once I created all the prompts. Instead, what ensued was a bizarre episode lasting weeks in which ChatGPT kept asking for more time, continuously changing deadlines, and then coming up with reasons why it couldn't meet them. Now, I don't know what's even weirder, that this thing is like acting like a human being and says, I need more time, and stalling. I mean, that's almost a little too human that the thing is stalling.
Does anyone else feel like we're about to walk into the world of the Terminator? I mean, Chris, this stuff it's becoming science fact, whereas it was the stuff of science fiction in movies, and just some of the robotics that are being created and the next thing they want to do, Chris, is they say that as brilliant as AI is, it's not sentient at all, and it can't it only knows what is available in the knowledge of the world. It can't put things together and actually have thought processes on its own. But they're working on creating that.
Here, Tim, you just went into my next story. OpenAI is introducing a new way to talk to ChatGPT. Dialing 1-800-CHAT-GPT. Phone calls are available for anyone in the U.S. and it includes 15 minutes of conversation with ChatGPT's advanced voice mode.
There you go.
So you can call in and have a conversation with ChatGPT. It's almost like those commercials we see where I think it's Apple or the other phone where you call and just have a conversation. I forgot what the person's name. They give it a name, but you have conversations with it. And I'm like, it's amazing to see how far technology has come, but it just shows the further isolation of Americans or just people in general when we're seeking to have conversations with freaking our phones or with machines.
Maybe that'll help cure loneliness.
I don't know, but
or make it worse.
But I had a story here somewhere. It was in my stack. I just know the rudimentary details of it. But a mother is suing one of these, it's not ChatGPT, one of these AI, artificial intelligence companies, because the voice was suggesting to her son that he kill her and her husband, kill his parents. And it's like, what is, you talk about these things don't have They're not sentient. They don't have thoughts yet, but they still can be very, very dangerous, especially with a mind that's not fully matured, and it may be having some delusions if you are going online to talk to people.
Yeah.
And then this thing is telling you to kill your parents.
Now, on the other hand, I can see some good uses for AI.
Not killing your parents.
Not doing that.
Right.
But in the science and in the medical world, like helping us cure diseases and treat people, I could see a lot of good uses. But I just wonder, Chris, if this is like putting a nuclear missile in the hands of everybody on the planet, because there's also a lot of nefarious things. I'm not a big regulation guy, but on something like this, you wonder if there should be some guardrails around it in some way.
I mean, Obama or Elon Musk, what did he say
he says
a couple
there should
years
be.
ago? He said this needs to be regulated. If it's not, we could see the extinction of the human. Now, I thought that was a bit hyperbolic, but he said if we don't get a handle on this thing and put some regulations on it, we could see the extinction of the human race.
Hey, listener Lisa has an answer
Hi,
to
Lisa.
one of your earlier one of your earlier discussion points. There was a plot against Grover Cleveland, but no actual attempt. And check this out. Here's a good little trivia question. That was when the Secret Service started protecting the president.
We have the smartest listeners in radio.
We do.
No doubt.
That's our medical coder, Lisa.
Medical coder, Lisa.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of time online.
Yes.
She is. Tim, there's a progressive political media group founded by former Obama administration staffers. They're selling Antifa onesies for babies and other anti-fascist themed clothing for both kids and adults. The items can be bought via a digital merchandise store run by Crooked Media, which was co-founded in 2007 by former Obama staffers John Favreau, John Levette, and Tommy Vietor, oftentimes referred to as the Obama Bros. The three communication professionals co-host Pod Save America, which we've heard of that podcast, one of the most listened to political podcasts in the nation. So Obama, if we didn't think that these people weren't anti-Semites and weren't against Israel, and especially Obama, when three of his advisors here are selling Antifa onesies for children. That is sick.
It is.
And finally here, women will fill a record number of state legislative seats next year. We're talking about how discredited women, not discredited, but how underappreciated women are. Well, they'll be filling about a third of seats nationwide.
There you go.
The most notable increases were in New Mexico and Colorado, where women will make up most lawmakers for the first time. Wow. Women will make up most of the lawmakers in New Mexico and Colorado. That's amazing. 19 states will increase the number of women in their state legislatures in 2025, according to Rutgers Center for American Women and Politics. At least 851 female GOP state lawmakers will break the record set last year. Tim, not to put you on the spot, but how many female GOP members do we have in the legislature, would you say offhand?
I don't know. There's 111 Republican House members. There's quite a few. And Chris, here's a first.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, a woman will lead the Missouri Senate. Senator Cindy O'Loughlin. Very notable.
Right. Senator O'Loughlin. Congratulations to her. Hey, we are just about wrapped up here. Of course, next is Larry Connors USA. He'll talk about why ABC was willing to settle the defamation suit and pay Trump millions, the greatest cover-up in Biden White House, and flashback to a Christmas story from radio legend Paul Harvey. That's our own legend. Larry Connors up next. 8 to 10 will be Jamie Allman. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Have a great evening, great weekend, and drive safe.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.